Hello everybody, welcome to Parents Guide to Gaming. Today we're going to go over the Nintendo Direct that happened yesterday, February 17th, and we will take a look at all the games quite a bit. It was a 50-minute presentation, a couple announcements on DLC and expansion passes, and a lot of games mentioned. Big controversy, people upset over, or disappointment, not controversy, I guess. Disappointment over a few games that weren't mentioned, or certain types of games that weren't mentioned as then. So here we go down the list of it. Just starting off, new fighter for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Pyra and Martha from Xenoblade Chronicles. Great for Super Smash Ultimate, getting more characters. People that play those games, pretty awesome. Nothing I'm really big into, but people are really excited. This is a great crossover with Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I would be for sure, but it's for the Xenoblade Chronicles series. Really, the only real thing that was they're kind of like their headliner starting out, and it was just interesting to start off there. I would say. With your Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but probably get it over with as this presentation was quite long. Like I said, 50 minutes. Quite a bit of games. Probably 20 games that they showed off or talked about. So here we go, down the games. Splatoon 3 was teased. Most of the games will be released in 2021, except for ones that I'll mention that is directly with 2022. Splatoon 3, definitely that one. It's 2022. Really interesting teaser. Gives a little bit more of to the world outside of the city. Like we always have little teases of the game that it's post-apocalyptic. There's no humans. These are squid children. It's a multiplayer online. It's an online shooter. Team-based. Be interesting if there's single-player DLC. There was or single-player campaign because there was a single-player DLC with 2. Get a little bit more into the world, and like I said, the matches show hey, there's a little bit more story, different things, the manuals and all that online on the website. So it's interesting to see if they do single player campaign with that, what that would bring. That'd be pretty cool. I'm gonna try to be quick with these because there are a lot. Monster Hunter Rise, new Monster Hunter, really cool. They showed off. Monster Hunter is a really great game where you just battle big creatures, as characters. Usually parties. Special Switch is going to come up with that. That's coming out quite soon, and a Pro controller with Monster Hunter Rise. That's going to be kind of cool. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, the extremely popular game on PC and PlayStation 4, is coming to Switch, which will be amazing. I think will be great because more people. It's going to be even bigger audience to play it. That's going to be awesome for that game. Just the popularity of that game is going to probably increase here soon. You probably hear a lot about that. But Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout that comes out in a few months, I think, on Switch. It said. Outer World. Oh, sorry, not Outer Worlds. Outer Wilds game. Outer Worlds is already out on Switch. Outer Wilds, and that's a very interesting game. You explore the galaxy. You got 20 minutes. Then the galaxy implodes. You start over again. And you honestly are trying to figure out why. It happens all the time. And you'll keep the knowledge again, but then 20 minutes, boom, world explodes, start a little bit more. Great game. Haven't played it myself, but a lot of people that I've heard played it well. 2 really interesting games coming up next, and they're the same. It's the same game, just 2 different one version and another version. And that is the Famicom Detective Club. Now, Famicom Detective Club, Missing Air. And Famicom Detective Club, The Girl Who Stands Behind. And they are detective puzzle games. And it's really cool. They're going to be remastered for the Switch. First time in North America that they're coming out, which is really awesome. Really cool when you see games like that. I wonder if they're going to keep doing that with games because that'd be really cool. Some older games bringing over to the Switch because the Switch is extremely popular. If you don't see sales, they actually this last year, even with the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series X and S, it outsold them all. So that just shows you how popular the Switch is. Stores can't still keep them open at times, but just a little bit about Samurai Warriors 5. Extremely popular game. It's a Dynasty Warriors game where you're a single warrior and you're incredible and you battle like 1,000 enemies at a time. Really great game, really interesting. Really interesting game that they showed off. Project Triangle coming out in 2022 strategy, and that is the working title of it. Hopefully they'll change. It's interesting to see that it's Project Triangle Strategy, but that's the working title, and it's like working title. Why? Like, what are you doing? People are really funny because they really actually just want to keep it that name. I guess there's petitions online to keep it that name, which would be interesting. Really cool game. The mechanics they showed you, because it's a tactical game, so you move your pieces like puzzle, like a chess, not puzzle, like a chessboard, and your actions change the world and change how you play. So everyone, fortunately, it actually game will be a tad different, they said, and it's be interesting to see how big a change, how things change. We've seen games where, you do a bad thing or a good thing, you can't get this person if you're bad, you can't get this person if you're good. But it'll be interesting to see how this works, and like, it seemed really in depth and really interesting of moving the chess, but just going that extra mile with this. And they showed a very interesting of weight balance, but it was threes in the chart pot. So it's just like, this is like, oh, it's interesting. Like, you go this one, then both of these reds, but you get both, and like, that'll be interesting to see. That one's I'm really I wouldn't say excited for. I'm intrigued more. I guess I'm excited, but it's just, it'd be an interesting concept. It'd be interesting to see more as we get closer to 2022, because when they supposedly comes out, like I said, it's hard to say with release dates when they do them this early, which is weird, because one thing with this Nintendo Direct is they said, hey, this is everything coming out the first quarter of 2021, and like, or the first half. I think it's the first half. I think it's the first quarter at the beginning, and then it's the first half at the end, and then later on they fixed it, and they were showing off a bunch of stuff that comes out later, and like things coming out later this year, like August, September, October, and then they're like a couple games like Splatoon 3 and this one were 2022, and I'm like, that's not the first half of 2021, but I guess they're just trying to make a hype for the game. There is a demo for it, which is pretty cool, so if you're really kind of interested and looking about it, demo for it. Videos on all this stuff on Nintendo's site. I mean, I'll link everything down below, but it's just incredible. The Direct will be drawn there too, so you can see it. Legend of Manta remake coming out on Switch. RPG game from yesteryear. Be interesting. They showed like you can change like from the rearranged music that they're going to do to classical at any time you want and all that. One game that people find really interesting and really great, and it's actually been a while, and then I've read what I've seen and everything. It has Super Mario Golf Super Rush, which will be quite interesting. You can play it like a traditional golf game with Mario and all that, but there is a mode. The Rush, I think it's called the Rush mode. Sorry, I can't remember what the mode was called. But you actually go 4 players at a time, and you all hit at the same time, and you all race after your ball, and you can like knock each other over, and the first one to get it in the hole wins, which will be interesting, and makes it fun for the younger kids, because my kids were actually getting pretty excited. We were watching this together, and they were getting excited for that. I'm like, this is cool. Like, I'll totally get that, because that'd be fun for like all of us sitting there rushing for the ball and playing. But that's a really cool game. Like I said, it's been a while. They have done other sports games like Mario Tennis Aces is out. They haven't done a new Strikers game with soccer, so maybe that's coming out too soon, or in a year or so. But Mario Golf Super Rush coming out, cool, awesome. They're releasing Tales of the Borderlands on the Switch, and that is a Borderlands series Telltale game. So if you don't know Telltale games there's not a lot of action, and it's more of a story-driven game where you make choices and you watch it play out. Really great games. Telltale does an excellent job. They did go under a while ago, so the person that bought them, company that bought them, is going to hopefully continue that as I mark my water bottle. Those are pretty cool. They did The Walking Dead. They've done Game of Thrones. They've come up with some of their own. Tales of Borderlands is one that it's in between Borderlands and Borderlands 2, and it just kind of filled a gap there. That's there. Capcom Arcade Stadium, which seemed extremely interesting, and I actually downloaded it on my Switch. Maybe I'll talk about it here in a video. Capcom is going to be releasing old arcade games, which is awesome, and the old games on the Switch. If you download it now, which is available now, and I have it. I have it on my Switch, and I got it play. You get 1949 for free because it's a free download, and I think you can purchase other games on there, so you can fill up your cabinet. That's the whole point. And play all these games, which is really cool and really interesting. That instead of like an individual release, you get them, and then you just get the games you want, and you just that's really cool, really great. Next up would be Stubbs the Zombie, which is a re-release. That is an older game where you, instead of fighting the zombies as a person, you're fighting the zombie horde. You are the zombie creating the zombie horde to get rid of all the humans. So really interesting, really great concept game. Quite old. I think it's original Xbox, but don't quote me on that. But that'll be interesting to see how well that goes. They're kind of fun and interesting. No More Heroes 3. So continuing the No More Heroes saga, there was No More Heroes 2, and then there was the mini game which came out over a year ago. So this is the third one. Continues the story. Is actually against aliens this time because Travis Touchdown, your player, is taking over the world. The best person in the world, best assassin in the world. So gotta have something. So aliens invade the world, of course. Really will be really interesting. No More Heroes always does a good job. So that's the original came out on Wii, so it's been a while. So great series that keeps continuing going. Really interesting game that came up was Neon White. Gave a little bit of demo, and my kids and I were all really interested, and I actually kind of forgot about it because there's so much going on in this video. Like I said, it was 50 minutes, and so I've listed quite a few games, and now let's say one. Neon White. Neon White is I would say it's a puzzle shooter. It looked like from the demo, and you move around platform to platform, taking shots, and you gotta get there. Premise of the game is you are an assassin in heaven, and you gotta get all the demons out of heaven, which is a very interesting concept. Who knows how people feel about that concept? That like the religious views and all that. It really looked really cool. Had a really nice visual style to it, from what I could see from the demo, the little video they showed. So that'll be really great coming out here. Next is the DC Supergirls Teen Power. And now this is a video game based on the TV series, the DC Supergirls, where Batgirl, Supergirl, why am I forgetting another one? Wonder Woman. I almost forgot Wonder Woman. Are teens in high school, and it's just their adventures, and they all know each other. They all go to high school, and they all go to high school with like the superhero boys and the superhero villain boy and girls. So it's just interesting of how that game's going to be like. It's talking about like teenage life. It's going to be I would say a little kid game, because it's a little kid game TV show. My one kid was really excited for it. My other one was like, yeah, whatever. Like, we watch it. It's just, the way it is. Plants vs. Zombies, Battle for the Neighborville, Complete Edition, another re-release coming out on the Switch. Again, a tactical team-based shooter. So that online competition, that'll be, it's coming back out. Metopia, they showed that a little bit. Just little bit of me stuff, creating me's and little worlds and adventure for that. Really interesting that they keep bringing the Mii's back in. I always thought the Mii's would die after the Wii, and then the Wii U didn't take off, so that's kind of like, oh, they're gonna die. And then like the Switch kind of has them, honestly. Like it's not like that was the one thing with the Wii, you create your own things and like make little armies, and that's like kind of what we did for a long time. And then Wii doesn't. The Switch doesn't have that. The Wii does. It's just interesting that they kind of just keep a little bit of the Mii going. Like there's kind of always in Nintendo games that are Nintendo company games, first party games. They always integrate Mii's. Like Mii's in there's going to be in the Mario Golf. It's in Mario Kart. It's in always in Mario games, you always play as a Mii, which is really interesting. Really interesting game that people are wondering about that they teased. It was just a little trailer coming up is Star Wars Hunters. From what people have read afterwards and gone online, it is a team-based elimination game. It's going to be free to play. Pretty much everyone compares it to it's gonna be Star Wars on Fortnite, Star Wars Fortnite, but not Star Wars in Fortnite, but Star Wars Fortnite. So it's just another game trying to get on that Fortnite craze. Because it even had like when they were showing the thing, those are the visuals, man. It just looks like Fortnite. World End Club. I think that's just a release on the Wii. There's Wii. Why am I saying Wii? Switch. Just nothing that I was too excited about. The Hades physical release. Now Hades has been out quite a while on all platforms. Interesting they're getting a physical release now. Definitely interesting game. A great game. Visually, I currently own it on computer, but physical release now. I guess with Switch, going crazy. Yeah, physical release seems all right. So I don't know how many people will. I'll be interested to see the sales of digital compared to physical on the Switch compared to everybody else, because just with the size, until you add the micro SD card, the Switch doesn't have a lot of memory. Like I have bought a micro SD for my Switch, and because it's really down a little, like I got the Mario Kart 8 with it, Deluxe, and that took up half of the memory itself, just that one game on just the Switch itself. Then they teased Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, which is a game that came out a few months ago. An expansion pass for that, which is really cool, and that's another Dynasty Warriors game just set in the world of Zelda. And then the last game, and kind of the cool but disappointing at the time, was The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword Remake HD. That's coming out from the Wii U to the Switch. They're talking about how the controls and everything moving, from the Wii U, which had motion controls, to the Switch, and how they do. You can still do motion controls with the Switch because it does have the Joy-Cons, or you can just do physical buttons, and just saying how like the joystick, the right joystick, right joystick, it must be right joystick, was the action of the sword swipe, and it was interesting. It is, from all accounts, I've never played it. It is the worst Zelda in the Zelda timeline, but it also is the Zelda that kind of starts the canon of Zelda, like time-wise. So it's just, that'll be interesting to see. What people are disappointed about with it was the director of, like, pretty much the head guy that does all the things for the Zelda series came on and goes, hey, you know who I am, but I'm not going to talk about the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 because we have no news on that. And it's like, well, what was the point of that? That's what everyone was really complaining about. Is they just kind of just went on, and I saw that. I was like, what? And then later on, I've done some research on all that. It's actually Zelda's 35th anniversary this year when it got released, which is interesting that there's been nothing. Legends of Zelda Skyward Sword does get Joy-Cons, a special Joy-Con sets. That's going to be for sale. It's really cool that they're doing special editions of Joy-Con controllers because, they do like versions of Switches, but can't get the Joy-Cons. So I think it's really interesting that Skyward Sword and Zelda are getting a cool set of Joy-Cons. Actually would probably cop that because those were pretty cool, unique. Like I have the red-blue ones, and they're all right. But could always use more Joy-Cons because that'd be individual players instead of just the big controllers. But that was a disappointment, I guess, with Zelda Breath of the Wild and the games that they didn't show or didn't talk about, or that games that you hear in the pipeline are coming out, but they were like, oh, this is only for... That was like kind of like I said, the first half of 2021, and they're talking about games the end of 2021 and games in 2022. Like, why did those games get to be like, why they tease Splatoon 2 when they've got other games this year that they got to release? Like I said, it's actually the 35th anniversary of Zelda, and people are just disappointed that there has been absolutely no news on that. But I think from thinking about it, Nintendo is just finishing up the Mario 35th anniversary. So I think they're just waiting for that to end, and then boom, it's going to be Zelda and Zelda crazy. Which would be cool if it is. If it's not, that's, whatever. No Mario news, I guess, would be, except for like the Mario's Golf, but they did just release the Super Mario World 3D plus Bowser's Fury. That was only a week or two ago. The Direct just seemed like a weird time when they did games. Like, just on the tail, like, maybe it was like 1 month later, it would have made more sense. This is the first big Nintendo Direct since September of 2019. I actually looked that up, and I remember that, which is kind of the worst thing not in my notes. So that was an interesting thing of why now are you doing a big one? Because they've done little mini ones, like little 20 minutes, a couple games. When they did the Nintendo Direct for Super Mario World, like the actual physical place, that was a Nintendo Direct almost by itself. It's just interesting that they're starting. I'm glad that they're doing these big ones because these big ones are great. It just takes a while, and we're watching like catch everything. But it's really interesting to see where this is going and where the year's going for them. Like I said, some of these games, I can't remember, some are later in the year, some are coming up here shortly. Like, they're list a bunch of games and they're coming up next month, if not the next month. They're coming up coming up a couple weeks. You'll hear me talk about new releases. Other than that, guys, I will see you later. That's a little bit of overview on the Nintendo Direct from February 17th. It's the 18th today. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Bye. Thank you to bensound.com for the music track. Please follow Parents Guide to Games on YouTube at Parents Guide to Games, on Facebook at Parents Guide to Games, on Twitter at ParentsG2G, and email any questions or concerns at parentsg2g@gmail.com. And always, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.